is CRV's strategy evolving in the midst of this downturn? What are you all talking about around the partner table?
Around the partner table, we're talking about how we're continuing to play to our strengths. CRV has been in business for over 52 years and focused on backing founders at the early stages. We raised $1.5 billion, as you mentioned, to continue to do that and invest at the earliest stages, partnering with founders that are building game-changing companies.
So are you waiting for valuations to come down, and are you finding enough places to put that cash, given so many companies out there are struggling?
We're seeing valuations compress across the board. You even just mentioned some folks out in the public markets that are seeing valuations compress. And we're seeing that play out again across the private sector as well. That being said, at the early stages, we're backing founders that are in this journey for the long haul. And as someone who focuses on health tech, healthcare isn't completely recession-proof, but it's definitely a defensive place to be in the market where there's continued to be spend and innovation and technology adoption.
So let's talk about health tech, because I know that's your focus. Is it as cool as it was in the middle of the pandemic or not?
Well, I continue to think it's very cool. That being said, I think that there was a really interesting, we had a watershed moment during the pandemic where there were a number of trends that were already happening across, whether it's consumerism in healthcare, adoption of technology, bringing AI into healthcare delivery, that the pandemic helped unlock. And that activation energy and that pent-up demand was released. Now, as the market has cooled, we're continuing to see those trends play out, but at a much more reasonable pace of technology adoption. A few companies that I'd highlight, one being a company, Wheel. You just had the logo up on the screen. Wheel is in the telehealth and marketplace space, where it's helping unlock telehealth for large tech companies, for large providers, as well as for companies that are trying to put great care in the hands of consumers like you and me.
So what is it about health tech that, specifically excites you? We have Apple coming into this, Google, Amazon trying to get in to health tech. Is that a threat that big tech giants want in, or is that an opportunity?
I think it's an opportunity. We're seeing a number of large players come into the space. You mentioned Amazon buying One Medical. We're hearing rumors of Apple getting into the health insurance game. We're seeing Google continue to play in the data space. I think it's a recognition of how technology has been in healthcare a bit of a laggard industry. And there's so much opportunity to bring healthcare into the hands of not only clinicians, but also individuals like you and me in order to bring us the care that we need when we need it. So many of us, for the very first time during the pandemic, did at-home diagnostics, had our first telehealth visit. But there's also a huge opportunity to drive better efficiency in the care delivery system across the board.
Meantime, more broadly, the world is falling apart and Silicon Valley is kind of crumbling. We've seen layoffs across the board. We just talked about 3,700 people about to lose their jobs at Twitter. Does this have broader ramifications on the startup ecosystem?
There are definitely broader ramifications across the startup ecosystem. And that's why, the breadth and depth of the firm like CRV, where we've partnered at the early stage, but also seen a number of different ups and downs in the market. And this is where, we're seeing leaders make really tough decisions. And the leaders that are making tough decisions are focusing not just on growth. Growth is necessary, but not sufficient. How are they focusing and investing in their companies and in the future R&D, as well as the growth to drive scalable business models and build the game-changing companies that we're excited to continue to back?
So what advice are you giving startup founders right now, given these tough market conditions?
As a board member and a partner to many of the founders that I work with, I'm trying to help them see around corners and see what's coming down the pike. And I think one of the key things that founders are focusing on is not just how can they have clear eyes and continue to focus on their business, but also make the tough decisions. Oftentimes it can be tempting to continue to want to see the world play out. But what I see are those founders that are making the tough decisions with clear eyes, with advice from their executive teams, as well as their investor partners, are going to be the ones that can not just weather the storm, but hopefully emerge even stronger.
So Talk to me a little bit then about the founders you think that will or can be successful at a time like this. I mean, people are calling this, dot-com bust 2.0. I mean, this could go down in the history books as a tectonic shift in, the industry, the companies that survive and the companies that do not.
We continue to focus on backing not only passionate founders, but Emily, you just mentioned how tough the times are. The word that comes to mind is grit. Our founders and companies that can be gritty and not just, as I mentioned, move through this time, but potentially emerge stronger. I also look for founders that are beacons for talent, that'll continue to be beacons for customers and for capital, even in the tough times. I think we're going to continue to see investment in really high quality teams and really high quality businesses. Those aren't going away. What we're seeing is that flight towards that really high quality where there's growth, but also efficient growth to building these companies.
And I know, you also worked in banking, you helped take some companies public. What is your sense of how long this downturn lasts? How long are we in for here? Is it 6 months? Is it 18? Is it 3 years?
Well, I am continuing to be continuously optimistic that we'll make our way through. That being said, planning for a bit of a stormy weather ahead. So, your guess is as good as mine in terms of how long this will last. But I think we're continuing to invest in companies and work with founders that are seeing not just a brightness on the horizon, but hopefully continuing to work through these storms. My guess is we're going to be in this for a considerable amount of time. And so having folks that are going to continue to focus on the fundamentals of their business, keep the main thing, and build towards the future.